Hi friends. Whether you are familiar with Wellspring Wednesday Chapel here at Unity or are visiting us for the first time, welcome. I, like you, like the city, nation, and world, continue to be outraged by the murder of George Floyd, which we know is one killing in the long, brutal 400-plus year history of enslavement of Africans and white supremacy culture in our country. This week, I have witnessed again how challenging it is to fight for justice. How much work must go into trying to hold our authority figures accountable, and how much suffering and violence must be exposed before people rise up and join the movement, especially those of us, like me, who continue to have the sense of comfort and security that living in a majority white and financially well-off neighborhood brings. We must find our way into this social justice movement, yes, during a global pandemic. For the blessings that may await us to actually arrive requires us demanding and working for them now. Let us, in genuine solidarity, do this together. Come, let us worship together.
Sing with me if you will. We light this chalice as a symbol of our faith, the light of truth and the warmth of love. Now we're going to have Justin and Luca.
Each week when we gather, we share our joys and sorrows. If there are families that would like their joys and sorrows read aloud next week, please email us. Today, however, we are taking the flame of the chalice and lighting these candles in remembrance of the African Americans who have been killed by police. I will read a selection of names far from a comprehensive list as Drew lights these candles. We are lighting these candles so that we don't forget, We are lighting these candles so that the memories of our lost siblings continue to agitate us. Terrence Franklin. Marcus Golden. Cordale Handy. Jamar Clark. Philando Castile. Thurman Blevins. William Billy Hughes. George Edward Washington. George Floyd. And as of last night in Louisville, while protesting, David McAtee. And will you pray with me? Spirit of life, may you continue to call us forth. May you continue to insist that through our actions and intentions, we acknowledge and uphold the truth that when one of us suffers, we all suffer. May the light of these candles keep us awake to the struggle and uprising continuing throughout our city, nation, and world. Amen.
I had a lot of really good teachers when I was a kid, which is why I became a teacher. But just liking my teachers, that didn't make me a great teacher right off the bat. I didn't understand what made them good. And so starting out, I made a lot of mistakes. Mistakes that I now know were about the power that I thought I had in that position. The respect I should command because I knew the answers. I knew how to do things. I had earned their respect. Thank God I had intelligent, amazing young people who set me straight early in my career. I'm thinking of this because our theme for this month is blessing. And the easy message about blessing would be to talk about how important it is I look for the good, for the bright side, and all of the challenges that we are going through. I heard it so much during the pandemic breakdown. Thank God we have this. This blessing is that we can be together. And I tired of it. But still, it had truth to it. And then George Floyd was killed. The city blew up. Our hearts were broken. It's scary. It's infuriating. We're mad. We're scared. It's so bad. And I'm really unsure how I look for silver linings to connect the blessings in all of that. When I hear those names of the African Americans who have died because of this racist system, because of my white privilege, I become aware that maybe the blessings we need to acknowledge are not positive, easy, wonderful things I still have, the joys I still can find. Maybe the blessings that matter are the ones that are really hard, that are the struggles that we struggle over, that we fight for, the things we don't get until we have really fought for them. I have a story from my time as a teacher when I found myself in that power position, and the position was challenged. I was confronted by a young African-American kid who came at me right as I was comfortably thinking that I knew everything, that I had the answers for them. I was teaching in a new charter school, and we were confident that we had the approach that was exactly what these kids needed. We focused on their employability, on the things we knew young kids needed to get a job. So we sent them out on internships. We had on-the-job training, and instead of English, we had classes called workplace communications. One day, a senior, Rebecca, who was an absolute favorite of mine, came to me and she was upset. She had been talking to a college admissions officer who told her that classes like workplace communications were not actually college preparatory classes, and she was going to need to do makeup classes in English, in humanities, in science, before she could apply to the college that she was interested in. She was upset, and I knew at that point there was nothing I could really do but be truthful and tell her, Rebecca, the counselor's right. And Rebecca said, and she didn't say it anywhere near this politely or calmly, she said, if you knew that, why didn't you tell me? I trusted you. So in that moment, I made several lame attempts to explain the program's beliefs, to justify what we did. I tried to soothe her because honestly, she was getting mad, and I could tell that soon she was probably going to hit me. But luckily, something did hit me first, and that was the undeniable understanding, the realization that in this case, I was wrong, and that I needed to admit failure here. I remember it now like watching a movie. It happened like this. Rebecca said, with such intensity, she said, how did you figure that this was going to work when you said that this school would get me to college? How was it going to happen? Were you lying to me? In that moment, so much emotion. It was sad, and the tears came to my eyes. And I said, Rebecca, it's an experiment. I believe in it. We don't know exactly how it's going to go. We're just looking for your faith. Rebecca's smoldering anger stopped for a moment, did not go away, but it turned. Tears came to her eyes, and she said, well, thank you for being honest about that. I do wish if you knew that you didn't know what you were doing, you'd have told me this, like say 8 months ago. There was the briefest of smiles between us, and the tension changed. Now, this was not all the apologizing that I needed to do. But in that moment that I acknowledged my failure and my complete uncertainty about what I was doing, things changed. We moved forward, we sat down, we made a plan. We agreed we would work this out. I had to pull strings, I had to get creative, I had to change it up, get to work. I had to put that work back in to gain trust that I had abused. I found this humbling. I was shook to my core. And yet, that happening was such a blessing. It was a blessing because in that hard experience, the impact it made on both of us, on what we were to each other, that landed and stays with me. I realized that the arrogance that I carried into that relationship was affecting that person's life. So I would love to tell you that everything worked out beautifully, that I did become the perfect teacher, that Rebecca went on to become the CEO of a major company, and my school had all the answers. We solved education. Of course, that didn't happen, and that's a hard truth. Rebecca did go on to college, and she was an inspirational leader in her community. I think that I did become a better teacher because of the struggle, and that struggle forced me to be better. Now, I don't want my struggle as a teacher to somehow sound like it's on par with the fighting for justice that's happening now, or to say that these hard things I faced in that are the same as the hard things going on in this community, and that everything that's happening now is a blessing if we just look at it the right way. I don't want to say that. But what I do want to say is that I know most of you, me for sure, are finding ourselves saying this a lot. This is so hard and I don't know what to do. I'm paralyzed. I know I'm saying that a lot. I think that hard feeling of what do I do here, this is possibly where the blessing lies. Because we need to figure out what to do. We need to make the effort. And I believe in our hearts we have answers and we know that we can figure out what to do. And not easily, not at all. But it's only in facing that challenge and accepting that struggle, accepting that that struggle itself is possibly the blessing. Only in that will we be blessed with peace. May it be so. We find ourselves daily seeking a return to normal, saying, when will this end? When will we be normal again? May we have the courage, the resolve, the energy to wish for more than a return to normal. May we see the struggle itself, that being our chance to be truly blessed. Amen.